Hey.
Alright, y'all, we gotta have an honest talk about Zach LaVine, and I really wasn't even planning to make a video about him or his situation that he's currently in with the Chicago Bulls, but I just continue to see these wild quotes and rumors, and I just gotta address it at this point. Because I think it was first Shams who tweeted it either yesterday or a couple days ago that LaVine and the Bulls organization continue to separate in their relationship. Then earlier today, Zach LaVine was talking to some media, and when asked about the trade possibility rumors surrounding him, he said that now is not the time to talk about that, which is code for get me off of this team. And then now, literally just a few minutes ago, I was scrolling Twitter, and I saw from NBA Central or one of those aggregator accounts that apparently, just a rumor, I don't know if this is true, but apparently Zach LaVine is still upset about Billy Donovan benching him in a game back in November of 2022. So yeah, this story has grown all sorts of out of control, and the only question I have at this point, if you are a fan of a team that has the chance of trading for Zach LaVine, just ask yourself, is he really worth it? And before y'all start typing away in the comment section, Zach LaVine is a good player. I'm not here to downgrade him or disrespect him. He is a good player. I mean, hell, he scored over 23 points per game across the last 5 seasons. Like, you have to be a good NBA player to be able to do that. He's improved as a passer to this point in his career. He's 28 years old, so he's probably around his peak, maybe on his way out, but still playing at his highest levels as long as he stays healthy. Which, speaking of health, I'll be honest, I was one of those people who were kind of down on Zach LaVine when it came to him and his knees and his health, but if you look back, this kind of shocked me, but he's played in at least 58 games the past 5 seasons, which a lot of people's favorite superstars or star players couldn't say that. So yeah, Zach LaVine, very capable at scoring the ball. Outside of this current season, he's also been a pretty efficient shooter. Again, he can pass. He's got a little bit of playmaking to him. The defense it's been better in past seasons for Zach LaVine, but I'm not going to sit here and call him a terrible defender. But I bring all this up because obviously at this point, with all the news that is breaking, everyone and their moms is hopping on the trade machine to try and conjure up some trade that will get Zach LaVine to their team. And to be brutally honest with you guys, I really do not care until an actual trade happens. Like, I don't want to put time into thinking about what a Zach LaVine trade package might be, because I really have no clue. The market in the NBA has died down since the Rudy Gobert trade, where the Timberwolves gave up like 5 first-round picks and a bunch of decent to good players for Rudy Gobert. So with that being said, I bet the most picks we see getting moved for Zach LaVine is like maybe 2 firsts, if I had to take a guess. And then obviously, contracts that match with filler or player, I don't know. But I say all of this because, again, like we've seen it before when teams trade for these, all-star-y level players that are good but not great. And part of me is worried that if you're a fan of a team that does end up trading for Zach LaVine, this could very well be a case where the team trading for Zach LaVine gives up so much in terms of picks and players and assets that yes, you get Zach LaVine on your team, but now maybe let's say you keep your star player, you now have Zach LaVine as your second star, or maybe even your third star, but you had to gut the rest of your depth and lineup to get him there. And so you are just in the same position as the Chicago Bulls, where you have 3, all-star level guys, and then a whole bunch of mid, and you're gonna be mid. Also, I really wish I had been rolling my camera when I looked this up, because my reaction to how much money Zach LaVine is going to be making it was it was good. Zach LaVine will be making $40 million this year, $43 million next year, $46 million the year after that, and then the icing on the cake, the cherry on top, he has a player option in 2026-2027 when he's going to be 31 years old for $49 million. I mean, I didn't think it was possible, but that is making the Jaylen Brown contract look like an absolute steal. And perhaps the most ironic and funny part about that contract is, since he has this season and likely 3 more seasons after this with him locked up, that's probably going to be more incentive for the Bulls to ask for even more assets, because it's not just going to be a one and done scenario. Whatever team does trade for Zach LaVine is going to have control of him for likely the next 3 seasons, or at least until Zach LaVine gets unhappy again and potentially asks for another trade. Now, I will say there are a bunch of teams that apparently have interest in Zach LaVine, and that I'm not surprised by. Shams reported that as of now, the Lakers, Heat, and Sixers are apparently the teams pushing the most for Zach LaVine. Again, those are all 3 teams that could use a scorer like Zach LaVine. But again, like if these teams are going to trade for him to be a second star, I just don't think it's going to work out that well for them. But if they're able to make him a third star, sort of like how the Celtics have done with Kristaps Porzingis this past offseason, then I think that's a situation where Zach LaVine could actually thrive. Obviously, assuming that he buys in on the defensive side of the ball and actually plays good defense, solid defense again, which we have seen at some points in his career, just not recently. So for those 3 teams, I think it makes sense. Obviously, Lakers, you have LeBron and AD. LaVine would be the third guy. Heat, you have Jimmy, Bam, and I don't know if Tyler Herro would even be in the deal. He probably would have to be. But still, he'd be the third guy. Sixers now have Embiid and Maxey, so again, you could get away with LaVine as the third guy. But for other teams that I've seen people talk about, like Orlando, Toronto, Oklahoma City, New Orleans, I just think that would be a huge waste of time and money and just everything for everyone involved. Because again, at the end of the day, Zach LaVine, good player, great scorer, doesn't really excel at a whole lot of other things on the basketball court though. And at this point, it does seem like a trade is likely at some point in the near future, or at least by the trade deadline. And while yes, I do think, again, there are some locations where Zach LaVine could thrive in a third star role, ultimately, it will also come down to what the trade package for him looks like. Because if your team is going to gut their depth or gut their assets for Zach LaVine, I think that's a pretty terrible move, and it's something that the Bulls will probably be looking for to try and get as many assets as possible since they're going into a rebuild. But we've seen it before, and maybe we could see it again. Bulls maybe just make a terrible trade and get pennies on the dollar for Zach LaVine, and some team ends up really happy, even though he is an expensive scoring specialist. That's all I got for this one. As always, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, all those good things, and I'll see y'all in the next one.